Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very late night here out in Croatia. I've gone too far.
You've had some bad ideas.
I've gone too far this time.
You've had some poor life choices.
Yeah, this one's too far.
One of them is that.
And now I'm in the middle of the camera. Hey, we've got one more match today. That was a pretty big, intense best of three between the two Challenger League teams. We went to the 3 maps for the second time this entire series. It's only ever happened once before. It didn't happen in the EU Challenger League match, but in the NA one it did. And it was pretty electric. Now we've got Rogue versus Okami, and we're expecting this one to unfortunately probably be a little bit more one-sided.
Yeah, Rogue all the way.
I mean, obviously Rogue are a big team. They've got a lot of history. They haven't had the best time recently.
Yeah, to describe Rogue, disappointment would probably be that.
Yeah, they're a team that can do well in certain doses and certain places. Obviously, we've seen them have amazing kind of days and amazing games, and then slightly less amazing days. And that has been generally their season as they look to be in a playoff position. At the same time, they're up against Okami, which is obviously, it's got Benji on, who is a kind of ex-Pro League player, so there is some history there. There's Kilo as well. But it's generally, you know, it's a tough team to kind of pull this together.
Yeah, you look at Okami, of course they have Benji, who we know from OGA Alliance back last year, where he was at the Paris Major Group quarterfinals, along with, Skies and stuff like that. Let's have a look at the maps, and we'll see who is going to be playing what map and where we're going, who's banning what. What do you think for Okami? What do we really have of them? Not a lot, Fluke, let's be real here.
If anything, really. I mean, there's just... It's generally been a pickup team. The thing about when I was looking into this, there's been a lot of different Okami teams all around the world. There's been ones in APAC, there's been ones in wherever. So finding the right facts on the right Okami was a bit of a tough thing. And they've dropped Bank, which is a map that Rogue is good on. Yeah,
that's one of their maps. We've seen historic matches on Bank against Rogue and Secret, all dating way back to DreamHack Valencia 2018, and of course Paris Major. And then we've seen recently on Rally, we've seen the Bank matchup between Rogue and Secret. Secret taking it though on Bank. We kind of had that upper edge against them, but as we know, Secret, they can only play well in tournaments, and anything else, they just... Whoa.
Yeah. Villa is the removal.
We could say something about Rogue, to be fair.
We can say that. And they're actually, as two teams go, they're actually really, really good friends. The guys from Rogue and the guys from Secret across Rally and across the recent one, they made good friends. So it's a shame they're similar. Clubhouse, we're wasting no time this time. We're getting all of our bands in quickly. Clubhouse is the next one to go to. And then obviously, as I said, it's worth saying with Villa that it's a standard ban from Rogue. It often gets taken out if most of the time, as long as Coastline. Border is the pickup there from Rogue. I'd say that's, it kind of allows, I think that plays into Okami's favor. These are two generally seen as default maps. They're maps that everyone's familiar with, and you would assume them to be at least capable and culpable for some of the tactics. It's what is seen as the modern Oregon, but Rogue want to go there, so I guess we'll see how they decide to play it. Now it's just 2 more bans to come in the favor. I'm assuming Rogue are going to want to ban Coastline and end up on Cafe, because they are a good Cafe team. At the same time, no, they're actually going to swing that the other way and ban out
they got
Cafe.
beat by TSM to go down into relegations in that map specifically, so that probably gives them a bad way. Yeah, I think both of these maps are fine for either team. Consulate's easy enough to play, so is Coastline. Overall, you look at Clubhouse, that's being picked straight away by Okami. I think Rogue are still going to find it easy enough. It's a veteran map, teams who coordinate well. Rogue, veteran team, been around for God knows how long at this stage. And, Okami coming in as a much newer team who are kind of 5 guys there together. Consulate being our last pick as well. I still don't think this is going to go past 2-0.
I would be surprised if it did. Obviously, we've made calls about Pro League teams when they've gone up against unknown teams, and sometimes it has been, it was a 14-0 in one case. And other times, and that was from the team that had the worst season in...
Elevate
in LATAM. And then other times, like G2, they had a bit back and forth.
G2, they look pretty slow.
But that was against Existence, which is a team that has a long history and has played in leagues and is, they were in the finals and the semi-finals of a lot of the qualifiers for Challenger League. So we'll jump into this game and see if Okami can replicate some of what we've been able to see on the hands of those previous games. Straight in on these bans, Capitao is taken out of the equation by Rogue, and we'll see what the response is across Clubhouse. Maverick, a fair ban, but it does obviously leave both Hibana and Thermite on the board, and expect to see them both picked quite a lot.
Yeah, so since the Maverick ban's there, we do see that differ. Sometimes we see Habana banned, for example, and really the positives and downsides of, you know, banning Maverick instead of Habana. Well, Maverick, it makes your job a little bit more difficult whenever you look towards the top floor, because you don't have that accessibility of going ahead and Maverick can open, you know, the entire wall to disallow the Bandit from doing what he does best, which is trick the Thermite charges. But then if, you know, you look at Habana, if Habana's open, it makes the basement a heck of a lot easier. Thatcher as well being open means that Kai doesn't really have a big say now, since, you know, you throw a Kai charge in the hatch. Simple EMP Green takes care of that business.
Well, we're starting off on Church here, and I guess, you know, starting on the defense, I think plays into the favor of Rogue here, not only because they're an experienced team, but the harder thing is always your attacks, and trying to find the balance and the pressure in and amongst that against a team on a map as wide and varied as this can sometimes be the make or break of a lot of teams. And obviously, the Challenger League Showdown we just saw, the ratio of defensive wins to attacker wins kind of, well, it was pretty off the charts. Setting themselves up with a Castle who is going up to the top floor in the hands of Easily, opening up rotations all the way down from the kind of workshop area. And I'm curious to see how much free real estate and how much roam game they kind of balance up against Akami's attack here, because that's a lot of space to lock down and a lot of space to potentially utilize and eat as much time. And to be fair, this is almost reminiscent of what Space Station were doing when we were here.
Yeah, but I feel as if Rogue are doing their kind of style. They're doing that setup where they're going right upstairs and a lot of heavy reinforcements towards the jacuzzi, which we didn't really see from them, and the aggressive from Slash punished straight away from, you know, the guy who we're kind of pitching to be the only hopes and dreams for Okami, Benji. First blood, he draws, and I think we'll see a lot more from him.
Well, otherwise there's a lot of time and a lot of, well, stuff left on the board for them to creep in as the 2-minute 30 mark passes, and obviously they've already, well, lost the Vigil, but it is in no way slowed the roam. However, that might be more of a dampener on it as Layman finds Eclipse in logistics, and Vertical is now just going to hold and wait for the drop now. Maybe they're not expecting the third body to be there, but with all the mute jammers and Easily on a sliver of health, there is pressure coming down against Kitchen, and Vertical has to start making his way back down. Otherwise, Brian is really the only one left on point with any semblance of health left. Vertical drops via the pool table side, can creep around these main stairs, but wants to put pressure against Kitchen and try and alleviate some of the stress being put down upon the point. In the meantime, Brian is the one that's suffering from dirt, suffering from the 4 bodies stacked up on Kitchen, and it seems like Okami are preparing the execute.
2v5 pretty much now for Rogue. Can Brian, who is stepping in here, it looks to be. Who's he stepping in for?
Shuttle.
Shuttle, okay. So he's going to be the stand-in for Rogue, and already it doesn't look as if it's helping him that much, because it is now a 1v4, and Easily on 1 HP does get a double kill, but I don't think he's going to get much more than that. There should be an easy lockout for Okami, and if he pulls this off, well, I don't know what to say if he pulls it off, which he should not. Constant information, though, being gathered by, I believe, a Mozzie drone, and there goes the final bullet into him, and Flak will pick up the remains.
Well, a great opening round there for Okami to read how spread out Rogue were. Kind of saw the defense, saw how much was put on top, quickly got the opening frags, which again plays into the favor. There was a lot of aggression from the Vigil in the corridor connector, and from that point onwards the defense was slightly isolated and it was just a matter of finding the firefights. But at the same time they read that that was what was going on from Rogue, and they just cut straight through. They cut their kind of wedge out and took themselves into Kitchen, into dirt, and from that point onwards on point and plant. So great read from Okami. Let's see if they can replicate it for the second time, or if Rogue are going to be a little bit more aware of the oncoming pressure.
I didn't know Brian was stepping in today.
There's been a couple of roster changes today. The stats I missed had, I'm not 100% sure.
And, well, of course, Brian used to play in this roster back then, didn't he?
Yeah, Brian, he's been back and forth with rosters sometimes as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's been kind of looming in the kind of FA scene for a while, hasn't he? You know, he had his time with Space Station, of course, and other than that, you know, it's been rough for him.
Well, it's also worth noting that Redeemer recently coached Rogue as well, or has recently joined on as a coach, I believe. Is that all officially gone through?
Redeemer, yeah, he's the coach now.
Yeah. So that's obviously a good, I think it's a good swing for them, because obviously they're a team that's very historic. There's a team that has been on a lot of grand stages and have just kind of been on a bit of a downswing, unfortunately. And maybe it's the combination of the increased kind of skill in NA and the upswing of the whole world of Siege is steadily getting better as across the board, and it makes it harder for a lot of these old Juggernaut teams to kind of keep finding their fresh feet in and amongst it, because you've always consistently got to reinvent yourself against new guns. So hopefully they're able to find some semblance of that in and amongst this, but here comes the mounting pressure yet again. Okami wasting no time in getting control over the kitchen side, but at least Slashug is still alive at this point in the round so far and has made the 2-minute 30 mark.
Waste time and get kills, that's the job of a roamer. And we hope that Slash just doesn't get ripped straight off the bat. Brian will try and take the fight to the attackers by peeking in towards the hatch, but there's Layman. Illuminates Eclipse. Easily now looking to get aggressive and will be supported by Slash, who's still inside of bar. Now they have a nice crossfire being established. Brian, now the only man on site, is Vertical. He's still upstairs and hasn't really made an impact. He needs to start doing so. And there's Repel once again being held, and that will be a freebie once more for Benji.
Well, it's where Benji got a kill last time, and it's where he gets it again. Rogue at least put 2 bodies back in their favor. Vertical getting Layman, who's obviously had a pretty good start so far, but with the buck down on the floor as well, they're trying to get him back up to safety, and the pings are coming out from the side of Rogue. They're aware of what's going on, and the pressure has been completely collapsed upon inside the kitchen. It's a really great response to what was, well, a really great attack on the previous round. Slash is going to take the damage, drop out, and not throw his life away, and just keep some control over the Moto Church side as Vertical also pulls back. And now with a minute on and suffered damage across both sides, it's just going to come a matter of the battle of the kitchen as Flak is rotating back round from dirt to try and find a way in. The drones are moving ahead. There's information game played from both sides, as you can see it on the favor of the Bulletproof, and here is Benji rotating closer and closer and trying to double up and back up the man with the diffuser inside kitchen.
Yeah, they're going to need to drop kitchen hatch, because where that diffuser is means the man inside of dirt won't be in a position to pick it up. So kitchen hatch is where they have dropped in towards, and they're going to try and stick to defuse. Slash doesn't know that both of them have dropped in. Flak pushes straight through dirt tunnel, but there's Slash ready to go and eliminates Benji. Diffuser has been stopped though, and even Thermite's been stopped as well. Now it's just down to the buck. C4 gets tossed in, and that should be all she wrote. And yes, it will be Vertical. Last kill for him, and prompted, he's gone.
I really like the movement that you could see going on in the back of that as well, and it kind of shows the, this skill in the sense of the Rogue players to pull back, take the damage again from Slash, get the frag, and then rotate round above from where they came from. A lot of players with less kind of that strong mental game might have tried to find the firefight and stuck around and lost it eventually and put it in a 2 versus 1 kind of situation, but even more pressure on them. But just smart plays coming from the side of Rogue. At the same time, again, Okami, you've got to give them credit. They did manage to find a few bodies and did manage to start getting themselves in on the diffuser. Even when the defense of Rogue had closed down pretty concisely against them, they were able to at least find some ground in and amongst it. However, it might have been a little bit too much too fast, as they just could have potentially used a little bit of the extra time they had. There was still about 15 seconds, 20 seconds on the clock to potentially set up a little bit more of a better cover on the diffuser planter.
So we move in next for the players of Rogue. It will be their cash room defense, and generically, cash room is a lot easier to defend whenever Maverick is off the table. And, well, there's Maverick. He's gone. He's been banned. So Brian will be picking up the Bandit. Also, Kaid being added in, but I don't think Kaid's going to have that much of an impact whenever Thatcher is there. I'm curious to see how Okami will deal with that, because obviously there's no Capitao since Rogue banned that out, and that's generically an easier way of dealing with the Bandit, is simply just by firing in from the window, by construction, right down in towards that. And then also, you can go below with the Buck. You know, they're bringing Prompted on the Buck for, I'm sure, probably that reason. And he should be looking to try and get in towards Lounge and open up. And even he can utilize the Skeleton Key in towards Stock, more importantly, to try and uproot and grab first pick onto anybody anchoring in A.
What I'm curious to see about, and it's often the thing that we've cited about these bigger Pro League teams when they come up against these lesser seen teams, is how much of it becomes the momentum swing and how much of it becomes the mind games. Because when we saw G2 against Existence, they started to drop rounds, and then suddenly it's almost like they turn on a G2 switch and pull themselves back around easily, looking for something from range, and the drones and drone hole are there to try and punish the Maestro as he starts shooting cash in frustration. And now it's just the balance of, yeah, I want to see if Rogue are able to turn on that switch as well. If there'll be a point where they start to kind of turn up the heat, which LATAM, when we saw them and the Pro League teams there, generally seem to have that on go.
Rogue have lost their control of the main breach as the Sophia stuns came in. That's actually another way. I forgot. There's so many ways of getting rid of the breach these days. It's hard to keep up sometimes. But Benji, anyway, he's wasted a lot of utility for it. And Garage may be a tricky position now. They may still have nades, I believe, from Prompted, but he's nowhere near the Garage. Benji doesn't have any more stun grenades to fire in. So realistically, Vertical, he's in a great position. And, well, a big fan of Vertical. I think, honestly, he's one of my favorite fraggers from North America. Just the way this man maneuvers, it's crazy, and the gun skill he has, and very highly rated amongst just the world, just internationally. The guy can put up numbers when it matters, and really every match kind of matters for Rogue these days, because they're in dire straits. You know, in relegations, this could be one of their only real chances to actually make a great LAN kind of experience for them for the end of the year.
Well, Prompted finds the double, one with a gun and one with a grenade, and there's the close down on the back of Garage as Layman finds one, and Benji quickly sifts it into a 5 versus 1. It's all down to Eclipse below, who is out of utility and a little bit out of time as there's 30 seconds and a diffuser being planted. They have the cover on the stairs, though, and Okami set themselves up in a clean, flawless round to put themselves, again, 1 round in the lead.
Okami, they pull through with round number 3, and now Rogue, already, they've played half of their defense on Clubhouse, and they've lost 2 of them already. If you're Rogue, you need to have these next 3 on lock. You need to sweep these next 3, because Clubhouse, it's difficult for attacks to kind of get situated. Clearly, unless you're called Okami, but still another half to go. If you take a 4-2 split, you're looking really good. If you take a 3-3, then you start to worry, and then your attacks just need to become 10 times harder, and they need to kind of pull yourself through it. Cash again for Rogue, so what they're going to go for. Pulse being added into the mix. I imagine that they may be looking to kind of pressure a lot of the verticality that perhaps Buck's trying to play. You know, we've seen circumstances where Buck has went into, stock, has bucked open below, and has left, just left so many holes for defenders to move in and actually use that against attackers pushing into A-bomb. And the great thing about the Pulse is that he can sit inside of, blue, downstairs in basement, can pulse and just look at the Buck constantly. Whenever Buck goes away, that's where he creeps up blue stairs and goes in for it.
Bringing the double hard destruction again, and what I like from Okami, it's very structured. Obviously, this is their map pick, so they're confident and they're comfortable on it, but you've got to realize as well, Clubhouse is one where a lot of these points, the attack strategies against them have been pretty much nailed down. There's, sure, as we said, 12 different ways of cracking open that wall and getting those electrics off of it, and that's down to the history of the map and how much it's kind of been run and run and run and run. Well, now it's just a matter of seeing if Rogue can find the responses to that, because, as I said, for me it's a bit curious why they wanted to go Clubhouse and Border, just because these are 2 maps that play into the favor. They're the maps that kind of, in a way, help those less experienced teams as a team, because you generally work out already what you want to be doing on it and where you want to be in and amongst the setup. Doubled up with the Kaid and the Bandit, gonna try and hold probably well. This side is, I think they're gonna wait for the charge to come across, and Brian's just gonna cover on the side through the Kaid charge early, which I'm a bit curious about there.
Thatcher just holding it at the moment. I don't know what they're waiting for. Oh, they're waiting for the first frag. And Prompted, again, I think that's just him firing through the window, has eliminated Slash. Rogue, now, once again, on the back foot. They've lost a Denial Operator in Kaid. Vertical still left alone once more on top of Garage, which was never really taken by Okami the last time. They're very one-directional. You'll probably see them now switch over and try and swing in towards Construction and take that side of things. They still have another Thermite charge to go for. They still have Banner Pellets as well. This is looking grim for Rogue, and they're going to need to try and play more aggressive and look for these picks and try and upset Okami, but that's not the way to do it. Benji, revenge tour, question mark?
Well, they're getting aggressive, and it's working so, well for Okami so far. Brian swings out and drops Benji in the meantime, and at least puts some bodies back the other way, as Eclipse is still Nitrocell in pocket, waiting for the right moment to let loose. This could be it, as he finds nobody, unfortunately, doesn't quite catch any of the 3 heartbeats he had just a second ago, and that is an unfortunate time to drop that, as that could have been monumental in shifting some of the momentum their way. Eclipse still working underneath for now. No, he's actually going to rotate up as I say that and try and offer a bit more support in the position the Maestro was in previously. Obviously, with both sides open and pressure from the window and now from the construction side, the air to breathe is getting much smaller for Rogue. The frag grenade swings over the top, and that is the second frag grenade kill for Prompted.
Prompted has been deadly on the buck. His nade positioning has been excellent, and just the overall fragging potential that he brings is proof dividend against Rogue. So now Vertical still on top of Garage, and that's a position that nobody from Okami wanted to challenge. Diffuser going in, right beside the drone hole, but there's Vertical gone, and well, Bandit not even aware of the man outside of Breach, and Okami, they're making Rogue look like a tier 3 team.
Yeah, this is just a very clinical shot down here from Okami. They seem to be completely in control of the space, and Rogue just seem to, well, for lack of a better word, panic. When walls start to get open, you can see them wide swinging and pre-firing, and then from that moment, it just seems to be
a lot of fidgeting.
Yeah, and then it just seems to be easy for Okami to wait and then time it and then take the body. And normally, if you're saying that kind of breakdown, you'd expect the more experienced team to be on the more experienced side of that. To be the one that is happy and confident to wait, let them kind of fidget and maneuver, and then take them when they are, well, easy to take. And at this point, it just seems like Rogue can't quite find the balance and control. And if they let this map keep slipping out of their control and their fingers, well, it could be a quick night for them, unfortunately. Back down to Church, and gonna try and opt for their second take on it. Lost it in the first round and took it pretty well in the second, but I say that, it did come down to a 2 versus 3, so, you know, how much you trust those is down to your defense style, but they're setting themselves up in a slightly different way. Now have the Maestro cam with the long angle. They've dropped the castle, they've dropped the 3-tier roam game. They're setting themselves up way more for a traditional defense, and if I'm honest, I think that's hopefully going to work better and probably should work better for Rogue.
Okay, let's see what Rogue have in store. So they've sacked off any potential roam game. They've realized that, hey, it's not the play, it's not for us, it's not working. Let's just try and anchor and see what Okami's going to send at us. Because this is the thing about Okami, they're great at taking what they want. I love that the fact that they're playing their flank watch so close to them. You know, utilizing a very strong angle at repel, which, yes, is pretty common. We've seen many a times where defenders have just peeked randomly and got the kill from that position. But they are solely going for in towards dirt and then in towards the kitchen. And that's just been their overall push. A very old one, we don't see a whole lot. But if it works for them, then hey, who are we to judge them?
Well, Kaid and Easily is throwing everything they can at that hatch and the kitchen sink at the kitchen to make sure it doesn't get cracked open, but there is another set of Habana pellets and no more impacts to stop it. Slash with the long range, and this Alder puts some bullets towards it, but unfortunately cannot find the body to drop, and it's just a little sliver of damage. A minute 40, they've got the hatch open, and one of the things about Okami is they've been pretty predictable in how they've pushed. Easily is taking advantage of that and is a player that you expect to stand up, and he is doing that so far, stepping aggressively against Akami's push and dropping the thermite, which is potentially going to limit at least some of what they want to do. They do still have the Hibana, who's opened at least one hatch. Whether she's used all of her X-Kairos or not, we saw two go off, but Prompted is able to pick the trade up from dirt. Slash is now going to watch that from range in the Alder, which you've already seen him use pretty well, but in the meantime, Benji is collapsing from the opposite side. Finding Eclipse, and the smoke canisters are being popped with a minute still on the clock. There is a lot left for Rogue to do here.
Rogue need to hold it together. Slash has the Alder ready to go, and that has been a godsend for Rogue. A free nade kill to himself, Prompted. What are you doing, my man? Slash does respawn, though, onto Layman, but still a 2v2 is how it goes. Benji alive, which is the main kid we're looking at. Slash still creeping around the boxes, as Vertical will join him. Diffuser tries to go in, Benji holding firm, and there's the fire through from him. Benji, a master clash in the Sophia, and oh my, this kid, he's something else.
He is doing work right now, and again, this is the great thing about this competition, is it can give teams that have brought themselves together a chance to really make a mark. Obviously, you play through this, you have the potential of getting to LAN, and then from there, the potential of getting to a major. The route is clear, the path is tough. However, one thing I'm going to quickly say, I like how he compliment Prompted on his grenades, and then he kills himself.
He's that good, he kills himself.
He's that good, he's just proving that he can kill anyone, even himself, with frag grenades. 4-1, we head up to Gym, and if Rogue don't take this point, there's a ton of questions they need to ask themselves before they head into the next map, and B, I don't think a great chance of them taking this one.
It's difficult to come from a 5-1. It really is. This is so important for Rogue, and heck, even if they take this round, they're still not going to be in a great position. It's still going to be a bumpy ride. Okami, they have looked just clinical, is the word. Their attacks have been so precise. They have took very minimal from kind of their pushes. You look at what they're going for, a kitchen and dirt push, it's fallen out of favor because you take too little, and it gives kind of the defenders a lot more room to kind of breathe with. They've just made that myth literally a myth. You know, it's not even a thing anymore. Nope. Their attacks are so, I don't know, just unique. You know, we don't really see these anymore. It's all about opening up every hatch. You look for a couple of picks in blue, you drop down, open up triple wall, and try and execute onto Church. They're going for kitchen. We never see kitchen.
Well, the thing is, what they're also doing as well is they're getting the dirt and kitchen tag team. So for the last round was the only time we saw them split the push even a little, and so that was just to put Benji where he started pushing towards the main stairs. Otherwise, it only ever been from those two different points, and again, it shows what they're kind of running is they're running their attacks well. Now, again, this was their map pick. This is the one you expect a bit more confidence on, but at the same time, you know, they're still a fresh team. Prompted is having a bit of a time with these frag grenades now. Neither of them got that castle wall. Maybe we shouldn't have complimented him. As in a caster's curse thing. Like, maybe we've put too much pressure on now.
Perhaps. Put a lot of pressure on Rogue, though, didn't we? That's kind of the main thing.
Well, I think everyone did, and I think that's the sad thing about Rogue is they feel this pressure because they know they can be great, and they have play days where they are great. And it's just the consistency that is the big struggle for Rogue, and kind of finding that game after game after game, and kind of relishing in the swing of things, because they're just a team that's going through an unfortunate phase that have more than the possibility of pulling it back round. They have found themselves one man up right now, taking care of the buck, and there is Benji out of the equation as well, with Slashug finding his second, and again, that's a player that you know can have these amazing play days. Being able to step up as Vertical drops Kilo and puts it into a 5-2, it looks like this round is swinging into the favor of them. Slash drops, but he's already dropped 2 bodies in the meantime, including the IGL, and Layman just pushes to find a double, but it is traded out by Eclipse, and now we sit in a 3 versus 1 with Thermite having a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Thermite now going up against 2 shotguns on Eclipse and Brian alike, and also 416 in the back, just in case things go south. droned out, and that means we're gonna have to see the quick maneuver. Still, I don't think Flak will win this one. There's just too many guns ahead of him, and shotguns primarily is the main cause, and the swing around, Eclipse gives himself away, and now 1v2, but has to go for the plant, and Rogue, so patient, so strict in their playstyle. Flak is going to try and go for the kills, but instead will stick to defuse. This should be an easy one for Rogue. Brian especially sees the back end of him. And Rogue, well, they do get themselves another defense, but perhaps too little too late.
Yeah, so obviously we can kind of talk about maps that play into favor, and this is one that does often opt to help the defenders. You have Maverick taken out and Capitao taken out. It's a bit of a balance there in terms of operators and control, because a great Maverick player can make quick work of a lot of the hard holds on this map, but you've also still got double hard destruction on the board anyway. So you assume hatches or church wall or CCTV and jacuzzi, or logistics side and construction, those kind of paired walls are ones that are going to fall quickly. At the same time, there's a lot of space for the defenders to use and utilize, and if they can do it well, it can be pretty monumental in just keeping control of the map. It's something we saw Rogue attempt, once successfully, once less so, but it doesn't mean it's not feasible. I'm curious to see how Okami translate to a defense now, because their attacks, as you said, have been clinical. Everything's been measured and weighted, and they've been very good at their checks and balances, and this is the time when they actually will really get tested. This is the drawing board stuff, and let's see if Rogue can find something out of it with their history of gunning and swinging.
Very similar lineup to what Okami brought from, we look at Rogue. They have pretty much similar, even on both sides, defense and attack, very similar playstyles. We have Maestro being brought, which can of course give that information, which is really the only form of information Okami have. Rogue, Buck, which was a big standpoint for Okami and kind of what prompted with use and abuse, and you need the Thermite Habana combo factor there as well to deny Kaid and Bandit, and then Vertical, who we know is known for that Sophia role.
Well, here comes the attempted quick push now, and we've already talked about the many ways to get this wall open, and it looks like they're trying the one from underneath with Eclipse on the Buck. Being droned in from the opposite side, and see the body there, and there's also the Kaid not too far away in the bottom of Garage acting as cover as Eclipse creeps around the corner, watched from the bullet hole but not taken advantage of there. Layman with the sniper shotgun lets the man just drift past, and I'm not 100% sure what he's waiting for, but this could turn out to be monumental, and there it is. Finds him on the return journey, and his ticket was not in date. Eclipse taken out of the equation and with the Buck off the board, but the Bandit suffering too. This could become a pretty bit of battle for that electrified wall. 4-4 left standing.
Still Thatcher alive though, so we could see the options of trying to open up towards the garage. You still have Habana, and even Thermite has another one. But Slash did use... Okay, so he still has one more. Just I was curious, because he did use another one to eliminate the Maestro camera for easily. So now for Rogue, they're set up well. They've got the breach open. Next step for them will be to take control of Garage, which is still firmly in control of Okami. Main way really for Rogue is to probably have the wall open first off. You need to try and get that little window that looks up towards the catwalk, but since there is a Kaid playing down here with an Electro Claw, it's not going to work well, and since there was another, even the impact trick, but even if there wasn't an impact there, they still had no EMPs to really do anything with that. So that was great from Okami, and they really ran into it, as Thermite ran into it easily. He's in the bomb site. Layman does have the refrag, but there's Slash, and everybody jumps on ship with Rogue, and now a 1-on-3, and Benji, can he clutch it up? Still has constant pings coming in from Maestro cameras, and let's see, has the shield, has the slits in it. Diffuser has been picked up by Brian, and now Rogue, they had their foot in accelerator, but they're just eased off very slightly.
Well, Benji, with 40 seconds and a fair bit of pressure, but constant pings coming over, knows where everyone is generally coming from. Brian is trying to set the diffuser down, swings out, but cannot find the man hanging. That was a pretty tough one to be in, and they hand over CCTV, bringing it to a 4-3. Good collapse there from Rogue to be able to start taking bodies and push when it mattered, especially after losing the initial swing, but from this point onwards, well, let's see if they can keep the roll going. Slash is having a pretty good show up today so far, but so is Benji on the opposite side. Kilo, unfortunately, still unable to match what the rest of the team is doing, but hey, it's not all about frags at the end of the day.
To an extent it is.
Just trying to give him some positivity.
Like, do you know how you win rounds? Just kill all 5 defenders.
I've heard that is the most secret strat in all of Siege.
That's how you do it.
It's just click.
Yeah, click mouse 1. Shift W, which is literally what Easily did. There was a point there where the banner pellets failed. They were probably thinking, oh god, what do we do now? And Easily was like, hold my beer. And straight in.
Throw me. And then threw him at a point and he went.
Sub me in, coach.
We head down to Church, going to opt for the basement pick here. Okami not going to try and double up on CCTV. Instead, going to see if they get some of the solidity from what this point offers and if it can, well, offer a bit more success. As, you know, the previous round it started well and then kind of went downhill from that point onwards. In the meantime, Rogue, as we said, led from the aggression from Easily, were able to kind of pull that one back into their favor, and they've, you know, got a few more, but it's a little bit more breathing room, and from some of the lackluster performances they've done in the previous rounds, it's nicer to see a Rogue that is a little bit more awake to the aggression side of this game. Otherwise, Benji is going to hold up inside Garage. Again, we can kind of say it, but both teams are running a lot of the similar kind of holds across the team. Obviously, we saw the man up here before. You see it pretty much most games. They keep Garage side control, and then they try and flat pressure from the opposite side. That is the wall instantly opened, but there is a man underneath inside Blue, seemingly ready to potentially get aggressive.
Okay, Rogue, what are you made of? Can you hold your nerve when the going gets tough? Because whenever you are staring down a big barrel of defeat going into your attacks, now, this is where you need to muster up the courage to try and prove us wrong. And they already have done that once, but now they need to keep the streak going, because the more rounds Okami get underneath their belt, I'm sure the more confidence they get, and Prompted has been caught out with a quick rotation from the Thatcher. Well, that's unfortunate to lose your Legion very early on, and well, the way Legion's gadget work is that he has to constantly remake them about every 45 seconds or so.
It's really a talent how he does that whilst on the move in a firefight, but Benji has fallen back to the point now. They've opted to bring everything back. So from when I said they were kind of replicating similar stuff to what Rogue was doing, when Rogue had the very aggressive hold on this basement point, they've actually pulled everything back at this point and lost the one body, brought the man back from Garage down via oil, and Benji at least finds vertical in the meantime, and now it's just a matter of Rogue collapsing down towards point. A minute 10 on the board is plenty of time for them to formulate a strategy, but with the one body lost on the blue side, it makes it a little bit shakier when you actually start your collapse, because there's always the fear of the rotation around the opposite side. They've lost Sappphire, which offers a little bit of support in trying to get these walls open, but
Maestro cameras as well could be an issue.
But here comes the pressure against Flak on the Church side. Seems they want to do a bit of a split push against Church and Oil. Can they make something of it?
Layman, he's in a great position now. Still tucked away in the back of Armory. Everybody from Okami just holding their angles at the moment. A drop in towards Oil Pit is where Easily will go and slash on his belly. Crawling in towards Memorial. Triple wall will now be opened up by Habana to try and entry their way in towards Church, and that's going to be their main way in to go for the defuse. That's why Brian has the diffuser on him. Does get that first opening frag in his final 30 seconds or so. A lot of work to do for Rogue as the rotation from Benji gets caught out as well, and Brian comes alive in the Habana. Layman ready to move in for the rotation. Oh, I don't think he's going to be ready for another man coming down the main stairs, and well, actually is going to be ready for it, but not the man in Moto, and Rogue, they pull it back, 4-4.
Wow, this is much better from Rogue. They seem much more confident and able to get control, and then most importantly, keep it when the bodies start to fall the other way. And you know, this is kind of, I guess, what we expected to see from the beginning of the day. Just a more kind of, you know, together effort. The team dynamic that is obviously storied across many land stages, many leagues in many different places, coming together to be able to get them through a game against a team that is, you know, for all intents and purposes, an unknown team, an unknown entity with some known players inside. Church is what
just
they're going to...
spectral thief.
Yeah, Church is what they're going to double down onto now. I'm going to see if they can hold it for the second time, but again, similar loadouts, similar builds, and I guess Okami are hoping for different results.
Okay, Okami, you've lost 2 rounds. You've now gave Rogue the door open into pretty much anything they want to go for. They've just broke you in your cache and your church. Sure, you could have went gym, but probably ill-advised if you can't even defend these 2 bomb sites, and I kind of feel as if Okami just need to go so deep with the roam game and make Rogue work for it, because Rogue, honestly, they did take quite a while to get set up, and the time was ticking down just further and further and further. Yes, that's kind of the norm for the basement, but make it to an extent where they're literally panicking about the time. Go for the roam. Send Benji, send Prompted, send your main fraggers out. Let them go.
Flak opening up the general holds that we've seen them. As we said, some of what they've been doing has been pretty standard, but again, that plays well into Clubhouse. I'm curious to see if, as you said, they do opt for a little bit more of an aggressive off-point hold, because we saw them lose 1 body quickly previously, and then they fell back pretty quickly. They didn't. They got to about the minute 20 mark, minute 10 mark, and then went, okay, well, that's enough time wasted off point, and it clearly kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
They can eat more of that precious time.
Setup from Okami. Again, a very heavy anchor setup. Benji still has 1 more ADS. Wonder what he's saving it for. Christmas present for Rogue?
Maybe. Like when the Rook puts their armor outside.
Yeah. Hey, have an ADS on the house.
Well, easily is getting open the hatches that they pushed from previously. They're a lot quicker this time, Rogue. They're making sure that they get everything open with much more pace, and I think they just want to apply the pressure down below. I guess potentially this is your pre-placed drones, feeding the information that this time they're all downstairs, they're all down there. You just have to push down here, and I guess this is going to give Okami more of a sightline of, well, last time we were a bit back foot as we came down, and they fell upon us as we were retreating down here. So maybe now that we're down here and we're trying C4s over the walls, and we're trying impact tricks, and we're trying electric claws, we might be able to slow them a little bit more.
Benji, already taking a bit of damage, and he just has to be careful. No Capita, of course, so blue can be pretty much untouchable for the most part. Well, unless you try and burn up the ADSs with a few flashbangs, even an EMP grade can catch some of the ADSs from above, and then, of course, you can toss in the frag grenades, but I think Eclipse kind of wants to keep those for the final execute and try and nade some people specifically in towards the A-bomb site. So I don't really agree with what Okami's, given Rogue. This is a very standard and basic and played out attack round from Rogue so far. They still have a minute of setup to go. I'd imagine that Brian's probably going to start rotating away and trying to assist Slash and Co. to open up the wall, but they have just lost their Thermite. So that's not good.
No, that is the opposite of good. That's actually bad. But they've at least managed to find 1 body in and amongst it, and the smoke is exceptionally low health too. They've still got the Habana, but however many charges have been used against the drop downs, potentially all of them now as they set themselves up for the push. Gonna have to take it hard and fast as Brian starts putting the defuse, and you see the instant movement there from the defenders responding. Slash finds 1, Slash finds 2, but the diffuser goes down even when the man does as well, and it's now suddenly yet again all down to 1. Benji dropped from range by a good hold from Rogue, as for the first time today, they put themselves in the driving seat.
Wow, they've pulled it back. Really didn't expect that from Rogue. They were looking shaky for the most part in their defense, but perhaps a new resurgence of everything that's going for Rogue. Just everything now is completely flipped.
Well, heading from this, obviously, and seeing if they can keep the roll over to Border will probably be a big part of this. Border, again, it's a map that kind of rewards aggression, but there's much less time involved normally in your initial setup. You can get to the point much quicker compared to Clubhouse, which, as we said, is such a wide map. There's so much to potentially drone out. There's so much to potentially clear, and in a way, we just saw a very good roam clear from Rogue. As I said, whether that was a balance of pre-placed drones or just good coordination and, well, bold maneuvers, it worked well for them. However, that's something where, if the map is smaller, Okami are going to get that aid just by default. Opted to change the bomb point, going to go for CCTV again, and this was, it feels a bit past the pale to say, but a good attack from Rogue. So far, these past 3 have been good attacks.
Can they keep the mojo going, keep it flowing? And hopefully they'll end up with a nice 7-4 scoreline. Okami, they've kind of crumbled in the defense. Don't know what it is. You know, we've seen times where attacks were the most impossible thing on Clubhouse. You know, whenever you look at like Maverick bans, for example, Cash has always been untouchable, and even if you look at the Capitao ban on top of that, Garage should be just impervious to everything that comes its way.
I'm curious to see if they respond to Layman in here. Obviously got the opening frag through the soft wall here last time, and the man that was just kind of running a little bit loosely around, and I guess this is down to see if Rogue can be a bit more active in their responses. Benji is pushed over to the bedroom side. Kilo is currently on the top of Garage, and they're going to hold the long angles. And yet again, this wall is going to fall probably pretty quickly. Droning themselves ahead this time, the Buck and the Sapphire, making sure there's a bit of safety as Hibana tries to crack open the opposite side. Worried about a strip club run up, but no one is currently there. However, Okami haven't really been playing that aggressive run out style. Yes, they've had one or two operators off point, but usually it's directly next to, or it's in a situation where they can fall back quickly.
Strip Club just kind of got literally nothing out of the new, well, I say new, the previous balance to Clubhouse. Like, you think about Strip as always being defended for the bar and stock defense, it just never sees anything anymore, which is pretty sad to see because it's a nice funky room, isn't it?
It is a nice funky room, and it's just, yeah, like, you kind of think, well, when do you need Strip? And it's like...
It doesn't do anything. It really doesn't. Well, a long run out, sure, that'll work, but then you're on the other side of the map to the bomb sites.
Yeah, like at this level, it's kind of a bit of a waste of space. But in the other levels, you know, it's fun to cavera around. Prompted suffered a huge amount of damage trying to hold onto the wall for as long as possible. Good effort, but unfortunately a little bit wasted as you pull back. There's a minute 15 on the clock. I say wasted. You took a lot of time for them to get that wall open.
Yeah.
However, Rogue have been quite good in this final minute scenario.
Yeah, they take their time. This is generic Clubhouse to a T. Nade gets tossed in, and that should be a dead. Oh, a downed Kaid instead, but either way, they know he's going to get finished off, and the drone comes in just to make sure everything's going their way. Still, a bandit is alive. Just barely keep this in mind. Maestro camera as well starts tagging up Brian. There's Layman goes down finally, but then Kilo responds, and Kilo, he's had a very quiet game. Hasn't done a lot, but he has eliminated Vertical, that main man for Rogue.
Well, 30 seconds on, and that's a body either side. Last time we saw Heroics from Easily be the tip of the spear as they cracked their way through, and Slash is going to start the frags and try and start some momentum in the favor. They want to try and get some control of Garage here, but, well, whatever they want to do, they've got to do it faster. Prompted as I was about to say gonna suffer, but suffers as Easily takes that tip of the spear line and once again finds his way into point, but this time with less success. However, finds one in the like post-mortem as Slash is the one to pick up the final frag. Match point for Rogue, 6-4, and that brings them to 5 rounds in a row.
Wow. I said that Okami was making Rogue look like a Challenger League team, a Tier 3 team, you know?
You did.
I take it back.
I'm kind of, in a way, I'm glad to see Rogue. It's weird to see an attacker-sided Clubhouse. I think that's a fair thing to say, especially kind of, as I said, with the bans that are on the table. It still plays well into the favor of the attackers. However, I think more this has been the invigoration of the teams on attack. I think because they've had the clock on their back in a weird way, it's forced a bit of intensity from the team. And twice on that exact point, we've seen Easily be the driving force of that final 15 seconds of just charging in, looking for bodies. And it was more successful the first time round where he got 3 kills. It's weird to say he only got 2 kills the second time, but he still charged in and got 2 kills. And otherwise, you know, it's that kind of intensity that I think they were missing on their defensive halves, where they weren't aggressively responding to how things were going down.
Drone game's been great from Rogue as well. You know, being able to specifically point out positions that Okami, you know, the risky positions that they're trying to get away with. But I kind of look at it and think, they've used that before in another round. Do you think what the Kai did, you know, in round number 7 with that cash where he done the Hibana Pell, that was the Easily, you know what, I'm just going to walk in. He sat in the exact same position. That should now be known to Rogue. They're not going to let things happen to them twice. What's the old saying, Flick? Go for it.
Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame on you.
I've shamed you twice before, so shame on you.
And I won't get shamed again. Eclipse, however, opens up against Layman. That's Valkyrie taken out of the equation, but obviously you assume at this point all of those cams are in place and might be able to prompt a little bit, as I said, response aggression from the side. Going to try to bandit trick the wall once again, but otherwise, you know, it's a bit of a fool's errand as Flak is the one to suffer another fate, and Rogue, again, wasting no time. Eclipse especially has really shown up when the team started to fall apart. Benji, for the first time, seems to be going on a bit of a wide roam here, potentially going to use and be aided by the Valkyrie cams and opt for some potential jump out and just throw a bit of a, you know, stick through a spoke in the meantime of the collapse down via bar, but could get caught out by what, as we said, has been a very exceptional drone game from Rogue. Benji with the hop out, doesn't see the man lying to his left. And, oh, if he had that. Okay, he found one.
I'm honestly surprised Benji got that kill to begin with. Right, I understand the play from Benji. You're down 2 men, you need to make a play. You need to just get something, anything you can. Sure, you got the 1 kill, but then it was a risky one to go for. The trade straight away from Rogue, and now prompted in Kilo. 1 top of catwalk, 1 inside of A, separated by a massive hole in the wall. So Rogue, they still have a minute to go. So much time to get their final bit of drone work in, and the utility being selected to use if they want to try and cover off different angles. Here comes the flashbangs to push in towards the garage. I think honestly at this stage, Aban is just trying to hold it, but oh, I speak too soon. A 2v2 swing around from Brompton and Kilo. Still, there's going to be Eclipse on the main stairs, and that eliminates the bandit. And now it is all down to Kilo, who we said had a bit of a quiet game so far, and now he can try and make a bit of noise against the Rogue camp.
Well, who needs a huge amount of frags when the ones you get are worth their weight in gold? Impact frags could be the name of the round in the favor of Kilo, but he has to find the 2 players from Rogue, and they have 30 seconds to make something out of it. Whiffs. His shot's a bit too high over the head of Slash, who has otherwise had a pretty exceptional game, as is Eclipse, and it's just a matter of waiting out this 20 seconds and being able to hold down the fort. You know at this point they're pushing into the other point. You have a big soft wall in between. You're swinging and pre-firing either side, but you're worried about the response. You know they've got to try and stick the fuser, but there is the man sticking the body instead. Rogue take the first map, take Clubhouse, which was Okami's map, 7-4 with, well, in the first half, didn't look like they were going to. In the second, they woke up and took 6 in a row. Border is the next one we'll see, and maybe the last map of the night. I guess that's down to Okami. We will see you after some adverts.
predict the outcome, win the game. Get live coverage and schedules for your favorite tournaments. Analyze, predict, and vote to gain points. Compete with other esports fans and climb the leaderboards. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.